So medication administration. So all grandparents, all residents who are not able to manage their own medication must have it given by assisted living staff. Giving medication includes placing it in a resident's mouth. So it's going to be all pills, eye drops, nasal spray, patches. And the most important thing is the medication must be given exactly as the doctor's orders are written. So we can never administer anything that is not in that medication order. So the orders need to be very, very clear. Like they usually say, give 1 tap by mouth once a day in the morning, or 2 taps by mouth twice a day. And that's the only thing we can administer. Like it has to be the exact dosage and the exact amount. So who can administer medication in assisted living? In nursing home, it's going to be a licensed nurse hired for the assisted living. It can be a staff member with a valid medication aid permit by the state. And a medication aid is different than a med tech. And even a medication aid permit holder also still has to be supervised by a nurse. And then the third one, that is what we're doing, is a staff member that is trained by an approved registered nurse, following the Board of Nursing rules for delegation. So since we do not have our RN on staff, some of our staff members, they do have a med aid permit by the state, but we're still going to delegate them.
So this is another question that I get a lot is, like, why do we not have a nurse on staff? To be honest, we just don't necessarily need one on staff. There's lots of big boxes that have them on staff because they have a lot more people under one roof. And once we open all 5 of our homes, we will probably have a nurse that we hire full time. But currently, we don't necessarily need one. And a lot of people are like, well, why is that? Oh my goodness, don't you need a nurse 24/7 at your home? And no, you don't. It would be a huge chunk of your income going to that nurse. You could maybe be, this is what I've seen a lot, have people just contract nurses for maybe 2 to 3 hours a week. They come in, they maybe do med cart audits. They come in, look at the med cart, make sure everything is accounted for. Maybe they can kind of oversee the staff, making sure that the medication is being passed appropriate according to what the doctor ordered. They may order new medications that need to come in. They can do those sorts of things, but you don't necessarily need them for 40 hours a week. That would be super excessive, and they would probably be sitting there doing nothing majority of the time. So if you want to have a nurse, if you're like really set on having a nurse, you can do that, but I would suggest just doing it as a contract, just having it a few hours a week.
Yeah. So talking about that, so we really don't need a nurse on staff. So like Laura said, like all the medication ordering and all these things, our med techs are trained to do. And also Mindy and I oversee the whole med card and the whole medication administration order. So everything always goes through Mindy and me anyways. And a lot of our grandparents are on hospice, so the nurses are coming in and out anyway. And for the ones who are not on her hospice, it's usually enough to have them be seen once a week. And all of them are on home health anyway. So if we do need to come somebody out, we're just going to call home health. It's pretty much the same as hospice. Like they are on call and they are going to come out if they had a fall or if they have wound care that needs to be done or anything. So I don't see the necessity for us to have a nurse on staff at the moment. I know it could be different when the other houses are open, but for one house, I don't think it's really necessary. Yeah. So delegation overview. So these are the things that we delegating, or our nurse is delegating our staff on. It's first the medication administration and how to take blood pressure, how to read blood pressure, thermometer readings, how to use a pulse ox, how to use an inhaler, how to administer eye drops, what to do with patches before and after, how to apply them, the nebulizer, oxygen, how to measure liquids. And then they usually go over common medications that most of them are certainly on. They're talking about drug classifications.
So another thing I want to add on that. So when we first had our RN come in and delegate, it was funny because they were like, well, what do you want me to teach them? Like they were like, I don't know what you want me to teach them. So what we had to do is literally create this. And it was like, these are all the things I need you to go over. And so that's why we gave that to you as a list, right? So if you give the RN a list of these things, they can talk all day about them because they know them really well. But I think they just don't really know what you are going to be doing specifically, because a lot of times these nurses don't really know about these memory care mansions. They don't know what they do. They don't know what these staff need to be trained on. And so this is why we broke it down there for you guys. We have a more extensive handout on each one of those topics that kind of just like talks like a paragraph, 2 to 3 sentences on, that I can upload on I'm pretty sure I've already uploaded it, to be honest, but let me double check that it's there to be sure that you guys can have that. And it's literally just what do you think, a 3 or 4 page document that we hand to the RM when he comes in, and he goes through the whole packet and has it, leaves time for questions if they have questions at the end. But he's usually going through all of these topics and usually showing, like he'll have like, the liquids or something, or have the nebulizer, or have something to show exactly how to use it. And then he'll, kind of put it on himself, or same with patches, kind of put them on himself so that they know exactly where to put the patches and how to put them on. And so having an example there too for him is also really important, so they can actually see what's going on, not just talk about it. The visual aspect is really important to teach them as well.
So medication administration, what do we want them to know? Number one is definitely preventing medication errors. And I think that's the most important things, because it happens so fast. Can't forget that our med tech is also /caregiver that day, so you can get easily distracted. So for me, always, this is the most important thing, is going over medication error. And that is really, yes, we want our nurse to go over it, but we going over this over and over again. If a med error happens, we're going to retrain again. And it's going to happen. It happened to me before. It's going to happen. The 6 rights of medication administration, and then the proper medication pass of narcotics. Then we have a lot of blood pressure to take all day long, 3 times a day, at least 6, 7, 8 different grandparents are on blood pressure medication. So they teach them how to use the blood pressure cuff, but also how to read the blood pressure if we don't have the cuff. Teaching what are the parameters, and then also when to alert the management. And this can be different for each resident. It depends on if they are on a high blood pressure medication or low blood pressure medication. Thermometer readings. There are different ones, so they're going to go over when to add a decree. And then also the different types of readings and thermometers that are out there.